This is KGW News at noon.
We can't place the most vulnerable people in our community on site of an already toxic site. It's just adding to their burden.
We're hearing from a North Portland resident there who's expressing concern about the city's second mass-sanctioned homeless campsite. Those concerns stem from talk that the land set aside for this campsite is likely contaminated with toxic chemicals. Thanks for joining us here at noon. I'm Drew Carney. KGW's Blair Best is covering this story for us. And as Blair explains, the possibility of toxic contamination could keep this project grounded for a while.
Much of the land along the Columbia Slough is known to have one thing in common.
It's a history of about 100 years of industrial use.
I've started calling this area a brownfield sandwich.
And right in the middle is this empty plot off North Portland Road. It will soon house nearly 200 homeless people.
When I first heard about this, I thought this site is toxic.
Charlotte McDonald lives about a half-mile away. Back in October, the city chose this land for its second mass-sanctioned homeless camp.
We can't place the most vulnerable people in our community on site of an already toxic site. It's just adding to their burden.
Lauren Wirtis with the Department of Environmental Quality says they found toxins in the site's soil 10 years ago. It was once used for boat manufacturing.
Where they broke things apart, cleaned things, repaired things, and that means a lot of different contamination over many decades.
Portland's Bureau of Environmental Services now owns the property. They're required to test the soil before any shelter can be built. Samples have been collected and are now being processed. The DEQ is still waiting for those results.
We'll probably find something. What we're waiting to find out is how much and of what contamination, so we know what risk that poses.
So if the test results show that the site is in fact contaminated, which experts believe that it is, it's not clear yet how much it would cost or how long it would take to clean up. But that would all fall on the city to take care of before they could start safely moving homeless people in.
I actually don't have a problem with this being a site if it was clean.
A city spokesperson says their goal is to open the site in the coming months.
I'm really concerned that the city is moving way too fast and doing it for some kind of other purpose. I don't think they just care about the people. I think they want to check a box that they did a solution.
Blair Best, KGW News.
We're going to stay in North Portland for this next story. Police are trying to figure out who's responsible for damaging some holiday decorations at a small business in that part of the city. A window at Sunland Lighting on North Mississippi was broken, and behind that broken glass sits a holiday display that celebrates Jewish, Christian, and Islamic beliefs. The store's owner believes the damage happening just as Hanukkah gets underway is no coincidence.
These items, while they're very old, probably aren't worth a great deal of money, but they symbolize something that is very dear to many people's hearts.
While the items themselves may not be worth a lot of money, the damage to her store will still cost her a couple $1,000s. She told us she does plan to repair the window, but has no intention of taking down that holiday display. One more story before we check in with Rod in the Weather Center. We're talking about Amtrak suspending service still between Portland and Seattle. That's because of a second landslide that's impacting the train tracks. Amtrak initially suspended service between the two cities on Tuesday because of a landslide north of Vancouver, and the plan was to resume normal operations yesterday. But this second landslide is now keeping Portland to Seattle service on hold through at least tomorrow morning. We cannot wait for another hit from Rod Hill. So Rod, we turn to you now. Let's talk about what's happening there in the Weather Center.
I thought you were going to say for another hit of rain, and I have it right here, Drew. Unfortunately, we don't really need this, obviously. But I tell you, this is the steady rain that comes in tomorrow and sticks around for much of the weekend. Forecast models have actually upped their projection this morning of how much rain we're going to be getting in the next couple of days. And we'll get more into that in my complete forecast in about 8, 9, 10 minutes or so. Right now, it's a pretty quiet Friday. You can see some scattered showers on the north coast, but just haven't seen much in the valley. The showers have been moving inland, popping over the Coast Range, then kind of fizzling, and then repopping over the Cascades, where it's basically down to flurries. But it is still cold, and the roads up in the Cascades are snow-covered at this noon hour. There's ice on the lens. You can see some icy ruts on Highway 26 at Government Camp. It's 29 degrees, and Santee passes Looking like it should look this time of the year, quite frankly. Very slow going, very snow covered. There are some blue skies. This is Cannon Beach Live here at noon. And here's a clear, not a clear sky, but a nice break of blue over at Willamette Valley Vineyards for you folks down just south of Salem in Marion County. Portland, we haven't seen much in the way of sun breaks. We've been holding at 45 the last couple of hours. We keep a shower chance in our forecast this afternoon. But if you have plans tonight, there's no rain at all, and it'll be about 43 for you at 8 o'clock. So we do have a nice dry Friday evening. Drew?
All right, Rod, thank you very much.
I'm saddened that this situation had to happen to my husband and to these people that it affected, but I know that this has created a movement.
That is the wife of the off-duty pilot accused of trying to shut down the engines of an Alaska Airlines plane in mid-flight. She spoke to reporters after her husband's arraignment yesterday about the push for better mental health care in the airline industry since his arrest in October. Joseph Emerson told police at the time that he had struggled with depression and had taken psychedelic mushrooms 2 days before that flight. He also said he never intended to hurt anyone. A judge released Emerson from state custody, but he does have to follow a set of conditions. Those conditions include staying away from drugs, staying off of airplanes, and undergoing mental health treatment. Emerson pleaded not guilty to 83 misdemeanor counts of reckless endangerment and 1 felony count of endangering an aircraft. This all after he allegedly tried to shut down the engines of that plane back in October. The crew at that time had to make an emergency landing here in Portland. Emerson will now wait for his trial at his family's home in California. He's due back here in Oregon for his next court date on January 15th. A grand jury indicted 2 Multnomah County Corrections deputies after the deaths of 2 inmates this year. Deputies James Brockmiller and Michael Mercuru have both been charged on a single count of official misconduct. Detectives say both men may have failed to perform the requirements of their job. In a statement, the Sheriff's Office says the Multnomah County Sheriff's Office takes all allegations of misconduct seriously, adding it will continue to cooperate with the District Attorney's Office. 10 people have died in Multnomah County Jail since the start of last year. The 2 deputies involved in this story have been placed on administrative leave, which is standard practice. The Oregon Department of Human Services, meanwhile, is asking for help to find this missing 17-year-old. Her name is Jerica Landon. She was in foster care and went missing from Portland back in late August. Police believe she's in danger, and she could be anywhere right now between Eugene, Portland, Vancouver, Seattle, even the Tri-Cities. She's 5'6" and weighs 130 pounds with brown eyes, and she often dyes her hair red, pink, or purple. She also has a tattoo of a heart on her neck just below her right ear. If you see Jerica or have any information on where she might be, call 911. Tonight marks the second night of Hanukkah. Last night, we saw hundreds of people gathering at Pioneer Courthouse Square to kick off the 8-night celebration. As KGW's Catherine Cook shows us, for many in the Jewish community, this year's celebration is especially meaningful.
They call it the Festival of Lights. And on this, the first night of Hanukkah, this first candle,
it is a really special thing to be able to see,
is not the only one those here are lighting.
We each need to light our candle, our inner candle and our physical candle, and be a source of light and a source of hope for all of us.
Rabbi Motzi Wilhelm led Thursday's celebration. He shared how lighting the menorah represents the belief that light always defeats darkness. For him and others who share the Jewish faith, that belief has never meant more. Their minds are on the Israel-Hamas war, the October 7th terrorist attack that triggered it, and the thousands of lives lost since then.
In the darkest moments in our lives, in our darkest moments in history, in the darkest of rooms, in the darkest of spaces, you can light a candle, and a little light dispels much darkness.
Very uplifting.
Yeah. David Pariente's family is originally from Israel, and they still have family in the Middle East. For them, gathering like this means everything.
This is an event that brings us together, and this is trying times, and it's important to be together.
Some feared pro-Palestinian demonstrators might derail this celebration as they did the Christmas tree lighting last month. But on this night, dozens of police staged around the gated event, and a small group of protesters gathered peacefully. For Joshua Liebschutz, it was all the more reason to be here.
I wanted to provide good Hanukkah memories for my kids as they grew up. And with the situation in the Middle East right now, I heard that they were trying to get 1,800 people here today. I thought, well, that might be a really positive experience and memory for them.
Catherine Cook, KGW News.
All right, following that report from Catherine, we'll take our first break here during the news at noon. Coming up, some of today's top national and world headlines, including this one about Hunter Biden, indicted on 9 federal charges.